Inquisitor.
How are you, Solus?
It hurts. It always does. But I will survive.
Thank you for coming back.
You were a true friend. You did everything you could to help. I could hardly abandon you now.
Where did you go?
I found a quiet spot and went to sleep. I visited the place in the Fade where my friend used to be. It's empty. But there are stirrings of energy in the void. Someday something new may grow there.
What happens when a spirit dies?
It isn't the same for mortals. The energy of spirits returns to the Fade. If the idea giving the spirit form is strong, or if the memory has shaped other spirits, it may someday rise again.
You're saying your friend might come back?
No, not really. A spirit's natural state is peaceful semi-existence. It is rare to be able to reflect reality. Something similar may reform one day, but it might have a different personality. It would likely not remember me. It would not be the friend I knew.
I'll let you get back to work.
All right. Thank you again.
I hear you'll be leaving us soon.
They're all dead.
I'm glad to hear it. Make her go with you.
The Maker doesn't listen.
Inquisitor.
Yes?
Let's talk about the Grey Wardens. You must know a lot about them.
Ah, the Wardens. I'm afraid we're less exciting than we seem.
How do the Wardens deal with archdemons?
Short answer? Stick it with swords until it stops moving.
I'll trust that you know what you're talking about.
We'll manage, if it comes to that.
Have you been hearing the calling too?
I know what Corypheus is. He has no sway over me.
Let's continue this at another time.
As you wish. I'll be here if you need me. Something on your mind?
How much do you know about Corypheus?
Not much. I always thought the stories of Magisters corrupting the Golden City were just that. Stories. I didn't expect them to be true, and I certainly didn't expect to find one of them still alive.
Corypheus stopped being human a long time ago. Darkspawn don't have human lifespans, do they?
No, I suppose they don't. They're unnatural and sustained by evil. It's been thousands of years. You'd think the Wardens would have managed to kill the first Darkspawn by now.
Don't the Grey Wardens know everything about Darkspawn?
You don't have to know how a Darkspawn came to be in order to kill it. We're soldiers, not historians. And the world would be better off if people focused on defeating evil rather than explaining how it came to be.
Do you know if there are more Darkspawn like Corypheus?
I don't know. I'm not sure any Warden knows.
Let's discuss something else. Nothing right now. Perhaps in a bit.
Inquisitor, you have come to the attention of the powerful, and I am the response. Monsieur Faris at your service. You will find my wares unique. I sell influence.
Majestic. How is a place like this ever lost?
First the Templars, now the Grey Wardens. Both devoted their lives to fighting evil. Now they serve it.
I'm a Templar. I don't serve Corypheus, neither do you.
A former Templar, and one who never joined the Order. I suppose that's something. The Inquisition must serve as an example. We must stand where others fall.
Do you have some time?
For you, always.
I think we've done enough work for the day, don't you?
You may be right.
I'll ask around again tomorrow.
Thank you.
There is no other man. He becomes the other man to do the things he can't.
I hear you've been busy. Someone...
They were safer there. All right.
So, Cole.
They don't smell the same, raw.
You needed that soldier to smell them so he could die thinking he'd gone home.
He did go home.
I'll talk to you later.
Probably.
Inquisitor?
Can we talk about the Bull's charges?
Certainly. What can I tell you?
Have you had any other interesting jobs?
Had one noble whose rival had been told by a fortune teller that her death would come on feathered wings. The noble sent us after the rival. Not assassination, legal and everything, but we had to wear feathers. We sewed them into shirts over our armor. Should have seen the chief, all feathered up like the cock of the walk. Ended up retreating after all that. The rival choked to death a year later on a chicken bone.
We'll talk later.
Come on, Krim. I'm working my ass off trying to get you to see that move.
You still got plenty of arse left, Chief. Your worship.
Glad you came by. I got a letter from my contacts in the Ben Hasrath. Already verified it with Red.
Do you want to discuss this alone?
Not like I was hiding it from my boys. Besides, right now, I need to hit something.
You know they've got training dummies, Chief.
The training dummy might actually defend itself against the shield bash. Anyway, the Ben Hasrath letter.
What did the letter say?
The Ben Hasrath have been reading my reports. They don't like Corypheus or his Venatori. And they really don't like Red Lyrium. They're ready to work with us. With you, boss. The Qunari and the Inquisition, joining forces.
That would be an unprecedented offer if I believed it was legitimate. Which I don't.
Now, ordinarily that would be the way to go, but they've identified themselves. They're not running a game on you. They found a massive red lyrium shipping operation out on the coast.
They wanted us to hit it together. Talked about bringing in one of their dreadnoughts. Always wanted to see one of those big warships in action.
Did you see that? Go get some water. They're worried about tipping the smugglers, so no army. My chargers, you, maybe some backup.
What does this alliance really get us?
They wouldn't use the word alliance if they didn't mean it. Naval power. More Ben Hasrath reports. Kunari soldiers pointed at the Venatori. It could do a lot of good.
You don't seem entirely happy about this.
No, I'm good. It's... I'm used to them being over there. It's been a while.
I thought the Kunari wanted to extend their reach to the whole world.
Yeah. Just didn't think I'd see it. Look, the Qun answers a lot of questions. It's a good life for a lot of people. But it's a big change, and a lot of folks here wouldn't do so well under that kind of life. I guess it's not like we're converting. This is just us joining forces against Corypheus. On that front, I think we're good.
I think the Inquisition could use some help from the Kunari.
Good. I'll pass on word to Cullen and Red. We can set up the meeting whenever you're ready.
I can keep staring at this, but I won't get any closer.
Keep banging your head against the problem. It'll go away eventually.
I'm predictable, I know. I suppose I'll never find them on my own. You recall the demon at Therenfall? The one impersonating Lord Seeker Lucius? We never found the real Lord Seeker, or his body. Indeed, I've seen no hint of any Seekers amongst the Red Templars, or anywhere. I have a growing suspicion Corypheus has imprisoned them.
Why imprisoned? He could just as easily have killed them.
Not easily. But yes, they may be dead. Yet a demon of envy does not kill whomever it replaces. It hides them away and learns about them. There must be a trail we can follow, yet so far I have only discovered hints.
But they could have ended up just like the Red Templars.
Seekers do not use lyrium. I assume Corypheus gained control of the Templars by corrupting the lyrium they were already taking. To do the same to a Seeker, you'd have to force the lyrium upon him. That may be what happened, but it couldn't have begun that way. We're missing a piece of the puzzle, Inquisitor. I need to find it.
Finding them obviously means a lot to you.
I left the Order, but I can never abandon them. I cannot even claim that rescuing them would be beneficial. They wouldn't look kindly on the Inquisition. But even so, if there's a chance... If we can spare resources to follow up on these leads, Inquisitor, I would appreciate it.
All right. We cannot neglect our soldiers' training.
Can we neglect roads? Our allies cannot take the same route through the mountains we did. Inquisitor? Any news on the House of Repose, Inquisitor?
What's the next favor we need to get these Duparacats a lordship?
We must persuade Minister Belize to ratify the papers. She's in charge of these matters of rank. The minister will be at a small fete thrown by the Marquis Wiscott. I'll get you an invitation.
There is something I wish to discuss, Inquisitor. Your worship. My Lady Inquisitor, it's good of you to speak with me. I have news regarding one of your companions, the Winter.
Is that a note of distaste I detect, Mother Giselle?
I admit his presence here makes me uncomfortable, Inquisitor, but my feelings are of no importance. I have been in contact with his family. House Pavas, out of Carenas. Are you familiar with them?
I've never spoken to Dorian about his past.
The family sent a letter describing the estrangement from their son and pleading for my aid. They've asked to arrange a meeting quietly without telling him. They fear it's the only way he'll come. Since you seem to be on good terms with the young man, I'd hoped...
Just what kind of meeting do they have in mind?
I believe they just want to talk, to understand why Dorian felt he had to come here. Somewhat private, away from Skyhold, but not in Winter. You make them nervous, I think. They don't understand why he's here with the Inquisition. They want him to come home.
What happens if Dorian doesn't agree?
Hopefully that will be the end of it. If not, well, that's why you should be there.
Why would his family contact you?
Because they don't know you, Inquisitor. I am not of the Imperial Chantry, but they know what I represent. These are parents concerned about the welfare of their son. How could I not do whatever possible? I would speak to the young man myself, but he does not care for me. Thus I come to you. If any good can come of this, we must try.
They don't want Dorian to know. That seems odd.
They believe the young man would refuse, and the letter implies he'd have cause. Yet, they are remorseful for whatever came before. This is a chance for dialogue. There is deceit in bringing the young man to this meeting without his foreknowledge, I know. But does it not lead to a greater kindness if there is potential for reconciliation?
Are you sure this isn't some kind of trap? I mean, the secrecy...
That did occur to me. What if it is a plot of those mages, the Venatori? Another reason to put this in your hands, Inquisitor. I pray that isn't the case. But if it is, you are far better equipped than I to respond to such treachery.
I'll see what I can do.
Bless you, Inquisitor. The family will send a retainer to meet the young man at the Red Cliff Tavern. to take him onward. If he truly does not wish this reunion, he can always end the matter there. I shall pray for your success and the young man's happiness. That's all we can hope for. Is it not?
Inquisitor.
Almost gotcha. This is an amazing find, Inquisitor. The Shaperid in Orzammar had something like it.
Greetings to you too, Dagna.
They preserve voices, or a likeness, memories, you know? You don't know. Doesn't matter. The Venatori cracked it, but here...
These documents you found, Inquisitor, I've made interesting... discoveries.
Have no fear of demons.
But the power will draw them unless you have wards against possession.
Once you have become the vessel, demons will be beneath your concern. Prepare as I have directed.
I shall, Elder One.
Sod it. Oh, sorry. The crystal couldn't take anymore. Wasn't meant for this.
That looked like Corypheus and Calpurnia.
It was a memory stored in the crystal.
No, that was vital information. Did you see Calpurnia's expression? Their alliance may be less than harmonious. Corypheus said Calpurnia was going to be a vessel. A vessel for what? They spoke of power and demons. But Calpurnia is already a magister. Corypheus must have some other plan. The crystal showed us Calpurnia hasn't bought into Corypheus's myth just yet.
Well, I'm no shaper, but I might be able to get it to remember new sounds.
Really? If we hid it among Calpurnia's belongings, imagine what we could learn.
Huh. I can split it and keep half here. We could hear her speaking right then. It's not how they're supposed to work, and it'll probably break. As I said, I'm no shaper.
Inquisitor, Calpurnia's Venatori have been digging up elven ruins. Tracking them might lead us to her. If this crystal were placed in a lair, I cannot overstate the value of what we might learn. Right, simple. Dagna, any chance it'll work?
Oh, there's always a chance. I mean, yes.
If there's a rift growing between Corypheus and Calpurnia, we must exploit it.
I'll have the crystal ready soon. I think. Let me find the Quicksilver.
Inquisitor, I was... Do you have a moment? What were you like before the anchor? Has it affected you? Changed you in any way? Your mind? Your morals? Your spirit?
I don't believe so.
Ah.
Why do you ask?
You show a wisdom I have not seen since my deepest journeys into the ancient memories of the Fade. You are not what I expected.
What have I done that's so surprising?
Humans are short-sighted, brutish, blind to the beauty of the Fade. Their minds cast in a duality of black and white. But you have shown a subtlety in your actions. A wisdom that goes against everything I know of your people.
I'm just one part of this team, Solus. What about Cassandra or Liliana?
Cassandra separates matters of faith from those of the world. And she above all should understand how limited that is. Liliana has a brilliant mind, but her faith was damaged. To her, it is all a game of tactics now. But not you.
So what does this mean, Solus?
It means that I respect you deeply, Inquisitor. And I have disturbed you enough for one evening.
Inquisitor?
Did you know we're actually related, Inquisitor?
Related?
Oh, not first cousins or anything like that. Can you imagine? You're a Trevelyan, however, and somewhere in the dank nethers of my family tree, there was also a Trevelyan. Perhaps he was even the one who ventured to Ostwing to establish the branch. We are talking long ago, of course.
You know that off the top of your head?
Not the top. Maybe the lower middle or thereabouts. Bloodlines are serious business in Tevinter. You're taught lessons and tested by strict nannies. I heard your family mentioned, and I had to go through all the old mnemonics, but yes, there it is. I knew there was a reason we looked so much alike.
Learn something new every day.
Nice, isn't it? It's like being at a quality library, provided you're not the one stocking the shelves.
It occurs to me that I barely know anything about you.
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond that, yes.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed? which is obvious to anyone.
I'm well aware of your finer qualities. Believe me.
Of course you are. You're a discerning and intelligent woman, after all. Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me. I am the scion of House Parvis, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams. Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming, the illusions of supremacy. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices.
Why would your family be upset with your choices?
Because I rejected their idyllic plan. If they had their way, by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family. We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my father's place in the magisterium. I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way, you see?
What did you mean by generations of careful breeding?
The great families of Tevinter don't have children. They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for my father because magic runs strongly in her blood. Never mind that they loathed each other. They wanted a son who could become Archon to make House Parvis the envy of the Imperium. They got me. A cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for.
I'm getting the impression that you don't care much for your homeland.
On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Qunari can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
Why remain with the Inquisition? Why not go back to Tevinter?
I'm not exactly welcome back home. Not that it matters, I'm quite accustomed to being a pariah. It adds to my charm. I can do more for Tevinter here. If the Venatori succeed, it'll set my homeland back 1,000 years. I'm sure some magisters would disagree, but that's why we kill them.
I think I've heard enough.
That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself.
Dorian, there's a letter you need to see.
A letter? Is it a naughty letter? A humorous proposal from some Antivan dowager?
Not quite. It's from your father.
From my father? I see. And what does Magister Hallwood want, pray tell?
A meeting.
Show me this letter. I know my son? What my father knows of me would barely fill a thimble. This is so typical. I'm willing to bet this retainer is a henchman, hired to knock me on the head and drag me back to Tevinter.
This could be the Venatori. Lure us somewhere remote, then an ambush.
Perhaps. Although this does look like my father's penmanship. Or, could he have joined the Venatori? No, that can't. Well, anything is possible. Let's go. Let's meet this so-called family retainer. If it's a trap, we escape and kill everyone. You're good at that. If it's not, I send the man back to my father with a message that he can stick his alarm in his wit's end.
There seems to be bad blood between you and your family.
Interesting turn of phrase. But you're correct. They don't care for my choices, nor I for theirs.
Because you wouldn't get married? Because you left?
That too.
I think you should meet with this retainer. Find out what your family wants.
I didn't ask what you thought, did I? That was unworthy, I apologize. There'd be no harm in hearing what this man of my father's has to say. If I don't like it, however, I want to leave.
Your parents are reaching out to you. Doesn't that mean something?
Only that they're trying to choke me. Don't mind me. Let's see what comes of this.